Video games rock, dude. I've been collecting and playing them for a hot minute now. I don't end up talking about them much here because of the time commitments they end up being. Not only to play them, which can be a challenge in and of itself, but writing and making a YouTube video about said game. It's already a bit of a commitment as is for one of my typical videos, such as my Suspiria video, where I ended up watching like 4 films including Suspiria. And that also included researching multiple sources and writing the script and anything else in the YouTube process. This actually really sucks because so many games have some sick vibes and stuff I really would love to discuss, truly. Like, look at all of these locations, these places. All of these spaces shown here are like my top smoke spots. I end up not having the confidence to discuss most games in a way that would provide concise commentary and is a work I can be proud of. But the one series I have more than enough confidence talking about is Sonic. This is like my top franchise ever. I wish Sonic the Hedgehog was my mother. He is my bestest friend, wife, and godfather all at the same time. Same with the silly little friends too. I love them. I think there's a bit of a correlation to my love of Sonic and my favorite anime. Their narratives are generally driven by their characters. Sonic's lore is quite fucked, but watching Sonic and his pals pal around like they've never palled before is just so much fun. Adventure 2's story is also like my favorite video game story. Sonic as a franchise, even if arguably held together by sticks and tape, feels uniquely human. I think unlike most game franchises, Sonic always has something neat to see or admire. There's a certain heart in even the worst games of his that I and many others keep coming back for. There's also like a fuck ton of hangoutable spaces in the Sonic games. Sonic explores so many unique vistas and locations that it's hard to discuss them all in depth. But honestly, I just wanted to talk about some of my favorite personal Sonic locations. This is kind of new territory for me. I haven't talked about an actual video game before. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. It's a fairly simple concept. I will ask that maybe you share this video around to those that you think might like it. I don't really ask it a lot, but I mean, as the end of the year is approaching, I just think it'd be cool. Maybe share some of that Christmas joy. By the way, Merry Christmas! It's coming up soon. This is like the last video of the year, I think. I'm gonna say like most likely. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoy. I feel like out of obligation, I should discuss the classics at least a little bit. Honestly, I don't have too much to say on any particular location, but I was always a fan of Casino Night and Carnival Night. There's also Studiopolis 2, which is very much a visual treat. I'm a sucker for the flashiness of these zones in particular. The black skies mixed with the fluorescent lights always got me a little giddy. It reminds me of walking through amusement parks at night before they close. It's really nice stuff. Sonic World from Sonic Jam on the Saturn is literally the best, dude. Man, I really wish we got that fabled 3D Sonic game on Saturn if it were gonna be anything like this. Sonic Extreme looks like doo-doo, and I say that in the most loving way I can, but this would have been awesome. Sonic Team around this time was cooking up some truly exceptional stuff that was ahead of its time, like, for real. Sonic World hits this really cozy vibe that was able to accumulate all of Sonic's vibes around that time. The floating platforms, luscious greens plastered everywhere, and that capitalized blue water, and the energetic tune in the background all make for a really comforting location and really good time capsule of the franchise up to that point. Sort of saying goodbye to that era and slowly ushering in the 3D era. Sonic R has a lot of that energy too, just louder. It's actually crazy how stylish this game looks. That water, bro. Like, why is it so shiny? Why is this slot machine here? Why is Radiant Emerald like an actual piece of art? Look at that transparency on the Saturn version. I think the way R's gameplay is structured is really clever when you think about it. Having the opportunity to explore the branching paths how you feel while still on a track is a really clever evolution of the classic Sonic game design while being appropriate for a racing game. You could argue that the tracks maybe weren't the best designed to allow that to its fullest extent, but I fuck with it either way. I still find it fun and engaging to play through these courses at least enough to try and win. It ends up being a weird step for a lot of different fronts in the Sonic franchise, but it makes me smile all the more. I can echo that statement for Sonic the Fighters also. AM2 has some of the best looking games from its time, and they still look really stunning, especially nowadays. This is literally the peak of classic Sonic stylings. Aurora Icefield is some of the prettiest snow I've ever seen. The sunset in the background is literally the best sunset of all time ever. Like, look at that combination of the purple and orange mixed with that black sky. Oh my god. It's beautiful. It is a literal piece of art. Sonic the Fighters rules, y'all.
Hey, wanna listen to some tunes?
But Sonic Adventure is the best video game ever. If there was a pill that gave me the key to happiness, but Sonic Adventure was eradicated from the collective memories of everyone, I would blow up the factory it came from. Like, come on. There is no other game with its vibes, its aesthetics, it's everything. Adventure hits a lot of the artistic motifs from the PS1 Final Fantasy games while evolving the Sonic franchise. Same goes for its narrative too, to be honest. And like the PS1 Final Fantasy games, we've got low poly women, baby. Station Square is kind of the best video game hub world ever in my opinion. Low poly women aside though, all these gals are darlings. The NPCs in this game are some of the absolute best in my opinion. They have quite a lot of dialogue and some ongoing side stories which are super interesting to catch up on. Like, for example, let's check up on these fellas. Oh. Anyways, you're given a lot of freedom to explore the hub areas. With only a spin dash, you can fly multiple feet in the air or just go through things. Yeah, I know I'm playing Adventure DX here, but my enjoyment isn't really hindered and my point still stands. Adventure's beautiful either way. Also, there's more glitches, so that's awesome. I love this statue of just this guy. I love the building for Twinkle Park. I love this skybox. Yeah, actually, all of the love in my heart goes to this game. I've never felt more intimate with a game's space like I have with Station Square. A common observatory from Mario Galaxy is a close second, though. There's something about that Californian atmosphere that I can feel and put myself in. Good stuff. I should also give my appropriate flowers to Adventure 2. I think this game permanently altered my taste in video games. It came into my life during a time when I was young, starry-eyed, and had all of the time in the world to play video games, and when I actually had interest in playing them. But also, I had no memory cards, so that meant I was forced to start over every time I wanted to play the game. But the pro to that meant I got to admire every facet of City Escape. Sonic's gameplay is obviously meant to have you replaying the stages over and over again. It's just the appeal of Sonic. And having a first level like City Escape always elicits good vibes in me. The San Francisco city reminds me somewhat of my own, even though I live in the middle of Arizona. Just that urban atmosphere reminds me of home. The random posters, all the various buildings, I don't know. Sonic's tactile qualities have always struck me in the right ways. The balance between staunch realism and stylization is one of my favorite traits of the Sonic games. City Escape's design is surprisingly organic, and that's a compliment throughout the entire game. You can tell Sonic Team did their research when creating the environments for the adventure games. Another one of my personal standouts ends up being Dry Lagoon. Honestly, I just wanted to talk about Rouge's music here. Fly in the Freedom is kind of my theme song, but you know what? This game is like the best watered ever. Also, Big Turtle. Yeah, growing up is realizing the flying stage is actually kind of rule for the most part until the end. But you know what always rules? Chao Garden, baby. Admittedly, I've never spent as much time here as I should. The garden itself is the definition of cozy. That waterfall, bro. Though I always liked hanging out in the Chao Kindergarten more. Seeing my little guys have fun is fun. It's surprisingly hangoutable. These Chao-shaped buses outside the school are so silly. Look at these cute drawings in this school. The principal's office is pretty funny. We love a self-love king. The hospital also gets shoutouts. I think the Black Market takes the cake though in terms of favorite location here. Look at this little guy. I love all the weird junk in here. The brooms are pretty neat. It's just so cute though. What could have been seen as just a cute way to diversify the game further is actually this adorable but extensive addition to the Sonic universe. Shoutouts to the Sonic Advance 3 Chao Playground too. The GBA's unique graphical strengths really help highlight the playground's serene environment. All in all, these are literally the best games ever, and I will not fight you on that. To pivot a little bit from the games though, and I guess go back in time just a tad, who likes the Sonic OVA? This fucking owns. I've seen this thing a total of twice, and it's kind of hard to get me to watch anything twice a year apart. But It's literally the better Sonic movie. It's just Lupin III on crack. First of all, the art is impeccable. Toya Sonic is my favorite Sonic design hands down, and this is literally that. Also, one of my personal favorite characterizations. He's a dick, and that's funny to me. Tails is so scrunkly here. He's adorable. Also, I really dig the concept of these planets being connected. Just makes Sonic's weird little world seem much bigger. It's honestly my favorite interpretation of Sonic's world in multimedia. I've never seen the comics, I'm very sorry. Maybe the IDW comics are better. I don't know. Sonic's little beach is just so hangoutable. Sunny skies, bright blue water, those trees, a chef's kiss. I love Sonic's little crib here. It's great. You guys maybe notice a motif throughout this video? Just me? I don't know. Sarah is the actual best character in the entire franchise, though. I adore her. I really wish I could live in a cute little island with my cute little cat ears and cute little outfits with my silly little friends. One day. Sonic 06 is a good game that I like. There, if Sonic Adventure felt like the PS1 Final Fantasy games, 06 would be like a PS3 Final Fantasy game, more in line with 13, especially with its cinematics and hub worlds and junk. This is what I was talking about earlier. I think the fact that 06 exists at all is kind of beautiful, especially considering the scope of this title. 06 has a lot more heart, attention to detail, and care than 99% of the entire medium of video games, despite its questionable quality. I think sometimes we forget that most of the industry is filled with Shrek treasure hunts and Muppets Party Cruises. This is definitely an eye of the beholder type thing, but case in point, Sonic 06 fucking rules. Being able to see the cracks in something like this reminds you that someone had to make something in the first place. Someone had to make this texture, the models, the music, everything. Even if most of it doesn't work for the masses technically or artistically. Like, shit. Solenia is just this little town with big white buildings and churches and stuff. You can smell the European in this town, especially with that architecture. Stages like Wave Ocean feel like evolutions of the adventure games with how colorful and expansive they are. They have that right amount of cinematic flair and gratifying gameplay that made stages like City Escape wow people. This game in general is a beauty to look at. It's even in 60 FPS, which wasn't really a common thing during the 7th generation. Sonic 06 is the work of art, one to truly behold me things. Most of the franchise from here on out is either really fuzzy or I just don't have a whole lot to say. Unleashed looks like such an amazing good time and really pretty. It seems to have more of the stuff that I dug from the adventure games in 06. Maybe one day I'll dive more into it and take in everything for what it is, but for now, Pack Jeff from YouTube, Pack Jeff, take it away.
Sonic Unleashed is a game I only grow to appreciate the more time passes. So many aspects of the game are what I would describe as the pinnacle of modern Sonic. I find one of its most appealing qualities to be its variety in area design. Being a game where Sonic travels around the world, its Japanese title is Sonic World Adventure, the environments are all gorgeous, and the music that accompanies you while you explore are all very soothing pieces. The Unleashed hub worlds are all wonderful simply for how they feel like real locations. With NPCs walking around, it feels like an improved version of what was featured in Sonic 06. However, out of all of Unleashed's locations, my favorite has to be the Chinese-inspired Chunnan. It's just an unfamiliar setting for Sonic, which is why I think it works so well. On top of all of that, it's easily the environment with the most detail in its architecture. The beautiful village can be explored in either day or nighttime, with the nighttime music being a lot more chill and relaxing. Chunnan really brought a vibe to the Sonic series that I don't ever really see them bringing back.
Looking at screenshots and footage myself, I admire the muddiness to the environment. The grays add a whole lot to the overall vibe. I really dig this green water too, and the blossoms, they're so pretty. And the lighting inside the pagodas makes the hub really pop out. Man, I really need to play Unleashed. I think what I enjoyed most about Sonic levels was the combination of realism and fantasy. The Sonic games have such a unique way of stylization and artistry that I fell hard for. That motif of nature versus technology was always present in the Sonic games. Most of the recent games lean too hard one way or the other for me to really get attached to in that sense. And that sucks. Frontiers could have been like the absolute best game in the franchise, maybe just best game of all time, but they really had to have that guy make these honestly drab as fuck Unity-ass environments. Maybe next time, guys. I still love you. And I love Sonic in general. Sonic is at his best when he gets messy in my eyes. Like I said earlier, seeing the cracks let you be a fly inside the dev studio. Someone had to make all of, well, this. Sonic is weird and I like that. It's such an underdog franchise. The best word I can really use for Sonic is genuine. These games' spirits are always authentic, very rarely listening to the gaming masses. Even when they stumble, you can tell Sonic Team puts their everything into what they make. And at the end of the day, that's what art's about, baby. Sonic makes me happy, and I'm glad even for how chaotic the games can be, they're still Sonic games and they still have a lot of heart. They're games I can play and enjoy. Most Sonic games will never be anyone's cup of tea, but they're mine. I apologize if I've neglected your favorite Sonic location. I would love to do a part 2 or talk about different games in the future, so if you have anything you'd like to add, comment down below. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.